we go. Here we go.
In our current global climate, we're facing challenges never before experienced by this generation. Oppositions where no one seems to have clear directions or answers to the risks facing us. Confrontations like racial and gender unrest, political gerrymandering, toxic leadership, economic crisis, global pandemic, health threats, pre-existing medical conditions, isolation, boredom, and loneliness are driving people to desperation. As a result, people are confused, afraid, anxious, and perplexed, and they need answers to some tough questions and even tougher situations. They are looking into different outlets for answers to gain assurance and consolation. Some have drawn closer to the embrace of family, while others look more towards their friendships, education, and even religion. What we need is a fresh voice of truth and clarity, and not a stale religious echo from the past. There's a re-emerging voice on the horizon that isn't afraid to stand alone and give spiritual and mentally sound direction to a world searching for answers. G. Alfred Palmer offers a voice of sound human development and empowerment to those willing to hear. There's a need for new ideas to old principles, a perspective from a timeless origin, but with current vision, a thought leader who understands what it means to stand alone and speak truth when some are hard of hearing. But if you've been waiting to hear a voice that opens the gates of freedom and breaks the shackles of confusion to allow you to step forward into the dawning of a new and exciting future, then it's time to bridge the gap with Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. He is a dynamic speaker, thought leader, and entrepreneur, equipped to elevate, expand, and extend the development, empowerment, and leadership of his audiences. He stands ready to speak at your next event. His delivery is guaranteed to refresh, entertain, and transform. G. Alfred Palmer bridges the gap from uncertainty to the purpose, to passion, and leadership. Book him today for your next event, and you won't be disappointed.
It's the Red Hot Mic. Let's rock the mic. Let's rock the mic. It's live. You're live with yours truly. It's the Red Hot Mic with G. Alfred Palmer. I'm back. Oh yeah. Listen. I've been down for the count for a little bit. Been on vacation. I don't know what. Got a little ill, but I'm back. I'm ready to get rocking and rolling. It's time to move out and move on. It's the Red Hot Mic with yours truly. I'm excited. Got something tonight. Gonna make some folks a little upset with me. But you need to rock on this mic right here. Rock on this mic. Because it's time to ruminate, elevate, and to activate one more time with the Red Hot Mic. G. Alfred Palmer coming at you. I am on fire tonight. I missed you guys. I'm excited. I got on the goal. I'm ready to go because I got on the goal. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. Come on. Oh, yeah. It's the Red Hot Mic. And I'm here with you. I don't have my pomegranate juice tonight, but I do have my partner right here, Billy Lamar. I took my hat from him, but he's still here with me. Come on. Let's do this. I'm excited. Thank you for coming to and being with me one more time. I really do appreciate it. And I am excited about being here with you tonight. I really am. Because I've been flat on my back for a few days. And I really just started feeling like myself. Yesterday, last night, I guess. But either way, I'm back on my feet. Went through Vegas for a while, and in going through Vegas, I guess I picked up a little something But that's how it happens. It happens like that sometimes. But you can't be upset. You can't be angry. You just keep moving on. Let me get rid of some of these lights. Let me get rid of some of the lights. There you go. Get rid of some of the lights so I can see you. You can see me. Listen. I am really, really excited about being with you tonight because the bottom line is this. I haven't been with you for a while, and I have to get my fire right because I need my fire in order for it to burn bright and burn right? Okay, let's get the fire right. Okay, come on, there you go. All right, because it's the red hot mic. We need. Want your hands up there a little bit. Headley right by the fire, burned his hair off. See, it's over there. Burned his hair off. Got most of mine too. So anyway, we still gonna rock it. We're gonna rock the brim. Is that all right? We're gonna rock the brim because I am the cat in the hat and I am back. Listen, I need you to subscribe, like, and share. If you would, hit the notification bell. I really need your help. I really need your help. If you would do that, I would appreciate it highly. I really need some help in reaching to a point where we can go viral. And the only way we can do that is with your help. And so I'm asking you to help me do that by subscribing to this channel. You may not watch it, but at least it's subscribe to it. You don't even have to watch it. But please subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell so that when we have new content, you will be notified. I'm excited also because I've got some new material coming out. And not only that, but we're going to use some new I don't know what to call it. We're going to use some new equipment tonight. I've tried to use it before. I've used it before. I'm going to use it again tonight. I'm going to try to change some cameras around, and we're going to use some other arrangements and how to. We'll see how it works. I'm just going to trouble. Just try. That's the only thing you can do is try some things out. And as you try, you fix it as you fly it. So that's what we're going to do tonight, as we always do. All right, here we go. The next thing I want to talk about is our scent of the evening. We always have a scent of the evening, and the scent of the evening tonight is from English Laundry, and it's called Noir Castle. And like I always say, I never try these scents until I come on with you. So I don't want to give myself any preconceived notion of how the scent hits me. I want to make sure that it hits me the way, and I'm genuine with you on the air because I'm giving you as I smell it right now. Okay, so let's try this one. It is new. I just received this, and it is called again English Laundry, and I like it. And this Noir Castle is a new dark and mysterious fragrance. I like it. That is captivating in not just sight, but scent. Noir Castle features notes of green apple, geranium, and sandalwood. Okay, it has some jasmine petals and also some grapefruit, and you can smell those notes. It is a very, I would say, because I did try this one because it is a new one that just came in. But normally I try to do a little bit more citrusy kinds of things, and it does have some citrus, some grapefruit, and it does have some apple in it. But so I can get away with it, but I try to use more citrusy kinds of smells. Not coming through real good because of my congestion a little bit, but I do pick up some very pleasant fragrance, very pleasant, and You can. It's available at EnglishLaundryFragrance.com, and I do like it. I would wear this. I think this is a good scent to wear out to if you're going on out and you're going to dinner or you're going to a function where there's going to be people around and you're going to be socializing. It's a good social function kind of scent. It's not very strong, at least from what I could tell tonight. It's not, but it does seem to have a very very pleasant fragrance. I like it a lot. So that again, Laundry, English Laundry. I am excited. I have to. I'm really excited because I've been out of pocket for a while. I have done a few things on social media, but not a whole lot for a number of reasons. But namely because last few days I have not been. I've been under the weather, so haven't been feeling well. So I took myself out of the equation for a while to allow myself to just do some self-care. But I'm back on my feet. I'm excited about being here tonight. And again, we're going to try to implement some different platforms. I got a couple new cameras, a couple new angles I want to use. I don't know if it's going to work, but I will try it on you tonight. And I'm going to leave this camera, and I'm going to try to go. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see. Well, before we do that, let's do this. Let's do this before I do that. Let's go to the old trusty answer wheel, because the answer wheel is an important part of our program, and I once again think it's something that gives people answers to questions. Now, let me find my music. Okay. I hope I can find it. There it is. Okay. Let's turn it down a little bit. All right. And again, we use the answer wheel as a means of us to allow the universe to speak to us relative to something that we may be going through. So what I'm going to do is take myself out. Definitely. Definitely in that whatever it is that you're going through, whatever you're facing, whatever you have been toiling over, the answer wheel is saying definitely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Definitely is yes with an exclamation point. It is something that says it's even more emphatic than just yes. It says not just yes, but without question. Definitely says without question, this is what you're supposed to do. So the question that you've been asking and you're not sure about that answer, it's definitely. It may be anything from changing your career to changing your location to changing your relationship status to any number of things. Changing your diet, right? It can be anything. But it's here for you to say, the answer to the wheel is saying definitely. Definitely. I need to put that on there because my lips have been dry the last few days because of what I've been going through. But anyway, definitely is the key for you tonight. And I'm excited for you because you have an answer to the question that you thought that you couldn't get an answer for. You have an answer to the question that perplexed you. Right? So definitely. But I want to welcome you once again to the Red Hot Mic. And I am your host, G. Alfred Palmer. And we're here, as usual, to ruminate, elevate, and activate. You see underneath the ticker that's going across means of contacting us and how to look into some of the other things that we have available. I'm excited about just being here. It's been a lot going on, hasn't it? It's been a lot going on. And with all that's going on, it gets kind of confusing, doesn't it? It does. It gets kind of confusing. And because it gets kind of confusing, it becomes necessary that we hear a voice that sounds a little bit different. A little bit different than what we're hearing in the wind. Because there's so many different voices in the wind. Sounds, aren't there? So tonight we want to bring you a new sound. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Well, the Red Hot Mic is here to touch on things, as I always say, that as I stand upon the wall and I look upon the horizon and I see the things that are going on, see the things that are going on socially, culturally, politically, right? In different areas. And those are the areas that I address. I'm not trying to make anyone angry, but I do know this. I have a voice, but this voice is not for everyone. It's not. It's not for everyone. And that's okay. It's okay not to be a voice for everyone. But they that have an ear to hear what I'm going to say, this voice is for you. Now, this is going to be a tough one for some people.
And what I'm going to try to do is try to use my share screen. Let's see if we can get that in here. Let's see if we can add it. There you go. There you go. Now, I want you to see this. And as I talk, I want you to focus more on what's on the chart than on me, because I minimize myself, but I want to accentuate the roadmaps that I'm going to be sharing. Now, what we're seeing now that seems to be at the forefront of many people's thought process is the idea of relationship. Now, relationship is important because that's what life is about. Life is about relationship. Now, as a young person, I didn't get that. I didn't like people. I really didn't. And I didn't spend a lot of time, especially as a younger person, as someone in my adolescence. I didn't like being around a lot of people. But as I've grown and matriculated from childhood to malehood and to manhood, I've learned the importance of relations, and that's the relationships, and that's what's one of the things that matriculating through the stages of development will do. It helps you to develop in the areas of, in my case, masculinity, and ladies, in your case, femininity. But I want to say that some people may have a different idea, and that's fine. But that's not here, and that's not what we're going to be presenting. We're going to be talking about the idea of masculinity, femininity, gender, and traits. Now I know that sounds a whole lot of, but confusing and conflated, but it's important because what we're experiencing right now, as I look out, is people that are having issues around masculinity, femininity, having issues around gender, right? Gender roles and traits. And that's what we want to talk about. Now, I put this PowerPoint together because I've learned something. You know, I've been an educator for a long time, and I learned that people learn differently. Not everyone learns the same way. I use a lot of different ways to get your attention, don't I? Right? And all of those things, some people say, well, what's wrong with him? Those are all a part of me, right? I've learned to embrace all the different parts of me. I'm able to compartmentalize them and to draw from them as needed, because I love music, but now it's not time for music. So that has to take a back seat to the educator, the speaker, the motivator, the encourager, the voice that I am, right? And see, what I do is I minimize me, and I want you to be able to see what's on the screen. I want you to be able to see what's on the screen. I want you to be able to, if you would, just focus on that more than me. Take pictures. You can look at it, if you would, later. You can look at, you can look at this, review it again, if you would. But what I want to share with you first is this. We're having this issue around masculine and feminine. Actually, it's around masculinity and femininity. Now, it's important. Why did I change? First, I said masculine and feminine, then I changed from masculine and feminine to masculinity and femininity, because they're different. Those are two different concepts. And those concepts are something that I want to talk about here. Now, The order of humanity and our designated cycles of I should say our sexual designations. What first of we got to understand is before anything is designated sexually, generally, or by traits, it first has to have an essence. Now I know this is going to sound spiritual, it may sound, but I have to go here. Okay, their essence is first. If I don't know if I use, well, we're going to see that in the next one. But before we can get to that piece, before when we start talking about essence, essence has in it some elements that I think are very, very important. Okay, the essence carries with it, first of all, as a person who is in tune with spiritual more than religious. I'm first mindful of that everything comes, essence comes from a mind. M-I-N-D, a mind. A mind is that which thinks. Okay. Essence thinks. Essence thinks. It is the essence that gives humanity life. It is essence that gives us life. Now there is a essence that we call God, or we call spirit, or we call the great spirit, or we call it whatever you want to call it. But it is the creator. It is the one that has created all things. And that essence is the reason for all things. But that essence is mind. It has to have mind. It has to have mind. Because everything that has and is a result of a thought or a process or an idea. So it's important to understand everything is an idea, and every idea comes from a mind. Every invention comes from a mind. We are an invention. We are a creation, and we came from a creator. Now, it's important to understand that this creator has mind. And with mind, the next thing that is important to understand about mind, in order for mind to become operational and functional, there has to be words, right? Words are critical to communication, activation, operation, and functionality. So first there's thought. The creator created a thought about you, about me. That thought is called purpose. And so that thought, that idea, right, has to become words. Now, whose words do they become? Whose words do they become? They are the words of the creator. You are the creation of the creator. Not only are you the creation of the creator, you are the result of the request of this atmosphere. It groans, it cries, it yearns. People have prayed, people have kneeled and cried out for help in areas, right? And we call that prayer. And that prayer is not in of itself, but is the idea and given to someone to pray. And that comes from the creator. The idea to pray for that came from the idea maker. The idea maker. And that idea to pray about that came to give you the words so that the words can be acted upon. That's the third circle, right? Where we talk about creation. The words that really are not your words, but the words of the Creator go out and enable, see, everything that is created has to have had a voice given to it. There had to be an idea, there had to be words, and those words are voiced. And as a result, those that essence and those words bring about power. And that power comes in the way of movement, right? We call it forces, we call it power, forces, and violence. That's what happens. That's what you are the product of. You are the product of power, forces, and violence. We talk more about this on the other channel, but I wanted you to get this. It's important that you understand that you're very intentional. Very intentional. There is nothing about you that's coincidental. You are, by design, mission, and assignment, the total package of what the idea from the Creator intended. You're not missing anything, right? But what you have to understand is you're not sent here to be anything that you want. You have been assigned. That's why when we, in the military, we talk about assignments. Assignment says that you're being sent by a higher authority to do something. And whatever that assignment is given by higher headquarters or by higher authority. And that's what we are to fulfill. Not to just do what you want or what you think is right. You have to ensure your assignment. Your assignment coincides with your design. Right? Your design coincides not only with your design, but with not only with your assignment, but also with your mission. You have a mission, you have a design, you have a mission, and you have an assignment. All given to you by the idea maker. And that's not me or you. It's not even our parents. And what we've got to understand is we can't do what we want to do with this life. We can't. We don't have the right to do that. Now, when we talk about the essence, let me back up a little bit. I want to talk about the essence. The essence that all things possess comes in two or binary essence, forces, powers, or violences, if you would. There's only two. That is what we know as masculine and feminine. Now listen, I said masculine and feminine. Okay? I didn't say masculinity or femininity, did I? No, I didn't. I said masculine and feminine. Now, the reason why I say that is because masculine and feminine are not genders, are not sexes. It's not what we know as masculine and feminine, as in gender. No. Masculine and feminine has been given to us from the realm of the great beyond. And it's not about gender. It's about function and operation. Okay? operation and function. So in our operation and function, what we've got to understand is operation and function in at that level is not gender. It's functional. Now, what are we talking about? When we talk about masculine, and I've said this time and time again, and we'll continue to say it, masculine means to penetrate, to insert, and to pierce, right? And to inject. Everything that operates that way comes from masculine energy. Now, you cannot do this unless you are designed that way by the source or the creator. No matter what you do to change the parts on a Toyota to make it look like a Rolls Royce, it's still a Toyota. So no matter what you do to change the parts, the manufacturer says it's a Toyota, and it is a Toyota no matter what you do to it. Because you are not the manufacturer. The only one that has a right to change anything about the product is the manufacturer. And if that were the case, if the manufacturer were going to do that, the product would never have been put on the market. Now understand, this is not a manufacturer like the manufacturers that we have, where we have to have callbacks and recalls and things back because of our fallibility. But this particular manufacturer is infallible. This particular producer does not produce fallible equipment. This producer produces exactly what is desired, what is needed, what is necessary. Okay? So when we talk about masculine, we're talking about anything that penetrates. Anything. Now, I know that it sounds sexual because it's supposed to. Because what the act of sex gives us is a type and shadow of what masculine and feminine is supposed to do. It is, and it's pleasurable here in the eyes of us of a sexual practice, and so is the idea of masculine and feminine coming into this realm. It's pleasurable. It's beneficial. It's good, right? So now we look at anything that penetrates. Now, what penetrates? What are anything that penetrates? And I'm going to just use some things off the cuff and things that I haven't even thought about. Okay. So things that insert. Okay. How about a key? How about a key into a door? So if a key inserts into a door, that is a masculine function. That is a masculine operation. Okay? So the key is inserted. It penetrates. Right? How about that? There are all kinds of things that we can look at and say whether it penetrates. How about what the bees do to flowers? They go to flowers, and it may not be the greatest of example, but I believe, because I don't know a whole lot about it, it just came to my mind that they go from flower to flower. They go from one flower to inserting, right? Inserting, if you would. Piercing one flower with whatever, they need to carry from one flower to the next. That is a masculine function. I'm not saying that all bees are masculine. I'm talking about the function. Okay? But when it comes to humans, Humans are given one or two essence, one of the two, binary, masculine, feminine. Now, we've already looked at what masculine is. Masculine pierces, penetrates, and I use the example of key. Now, how about feminine? Feminine receives, incubates, nurtures, and secures. So let's look at that same example. We talked about a key that inserts. How about the lock? The lock receives the key. The key is inserted into the lock. The lock receives the key. The lock nurtures the key as the key turns or manipulates, right? The lock maneuvers the lock. I don't like the word manipulate because it's not about manipulation. It's about maneuvering. It's about the proper operation and function, because the bottom line is the key and the lock are to function together. The key can't function without the lock. The lock cannot function without the key. They are equal, but not the same. Right? So, masculinity and femininity. Now, in order for masculinity and femininity to have its proper place in this sphere we call Earth, it has to put on the ITE. It drops the E and puts on the ITE, right? Now, we looked at this time and time again to see what the suffix ITE means, or ITY. ITY means the quality, state, or to a degree. There's a certain state or quality of feminine or masculine that is required for this sphere. It's designated. It's a degree that cannot be changed. It's a certain state that only can be implemented by the designer. So when we start talking about masculine coming into the earth realm, because all of us began as an idea of the creator. And the idea of the creator is called purpose. And that purpose is there's an idea, there is a purpose, a reason, right? For you being here. There's an intention. Your design, your mission, and assignment helps you to understand what that is. So when it comes, because feminine and masculine are not gender specific, in order to come into this sphere, in the biblical narrative, it's called heavenlies. When it crosses from the spiritual sphere into this atmosphere is run, ruled, and dominated by scientific method. And scientific method speaks to the state, to the degree, and to the quality of something. So when you came here, when you were assigned femininity or masculinity, and we know that by your design that you have, because your design is a type and shadow of the idea that the creator presented when you were created. Now, so that means once we come here, it's no longer masculine or feminine, it's masculinity and femininity. Those are the two binary terms. So masculinity is the scientific methodology of masculine, And femininity is the scientific methodology of feminine. I know you've never heard stuff like this before, but you've heard it here before, I'm sure. Here's some things that's important to understand. Masculinity cannot be femininity, and femininity cannot be masculinity. Why? Why? Because of design. Because of idea. The original idea by the creator. The creator. The creator. And that's not you, and that's not me. We're neither one of those. We're not the creator. And because we're not the creator, we have no right to dictate, to determine femininity or masculinity. Okay? Now, what we've got to understand also as well, and I'm going to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about it this particular time because I would have to go all the way back. But I want to talk about principles. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do it. Let's see if we can do it. Principles really are a part of the essence sphere. Remember where we talked about essence in our example? We talked about mind. Mind is actually in the area of essence. Let me see if I think I have another. Maybe this will help. Let's go to the next one. See there the humanity roadmap, which says that spirit, and then after spirit, spirit is essence, right? Then next after spirit is masculine, feminine. This is what we've been talking about, right? Masculine, feminine, then birth. It's at birth where in the process of being born is the determination of masculinity and femininity, right? And that's when we are forming, masculinity and femininity is being determined, has already been determined in the mind. And so what's happening in those 9 months is that we're being equipped for that idea that has already preceded us. So again, you and I have no right to change anything about ourselves because all that we are has been dictated by the source, by the creator, by the idea maker and creator and sustainer. Okay? So it's important that we understand that as well. Let's see here. Now, here's something else that I want to share with you, because this is what we've got to understand, is this. Once we leave, once we are born, and masculinity and femininity has been determined for us, okay? We're born masculine. This is masculinity. This is masculinity right here, and femininity. But I put masculine and feminine up here to represent them as being the sources, the source material that we are when we come here. Now, this particular masculine and feminine, when we leave here, when we leave here, I'm talking about when we transition, when what people say die, we go back to the original source, right? As essence. The essence before we become put on masculine and feminine. There is no masculine and feminine in the spirit world. There is none. People will tell you there is, but that is religion. When a person leaves here, they're gone. All that we have left is what we have left of them, memories, pictures, or what have you. But they are gone. They have returned to their source. Their design is gone. Their mission is done. Their assignment is finished. It's important for us to know that. So, masculine, feminine. Now, when we look at these, we see, I want to look at it, and you can't see it real clearly, but the first thing it says here in the masculinity over here is energy. And then it goes to boy, then male, then man. Then feminine comes to femininity, and it's femininity or feminine energy. Then it goes to girl, female, woman. Okay? This is what happens to each and every person. Now, we may not like it. Now, and I want to speak to why that becomes a problem for some of us. The reason why I'm gonna bring myself back here, because this is going to be for some of you. I want to remove that. Okay, I'm gonna come back to you. The reason why some of the things that happen, and this is not going to go down well with some folks, but hear what I'm going to say. It's not to denigrate or to make to hurt anyone's feeling, but we have to be able to understand the importance of responsibility. Now, when it comes to being born, when masculine and feminine enters into this sphere, and the creator determines what we were going to be, masculinity or femininity, and we go in, and as a result of that, we're born masculine, we're born masculinity, we're born boys, femininity, we're born girls. Now, what happens after that? Some people are saying that they've always wanted to be the opposite. No, you didn't. How would you know that? You wouldn't even know that. What was failed to happen is that you were not properly educated, trained, discipled, disciplined, directed by your parents. And there's a myriad of reasons why that happens. Maybe because your parents were not masculinity properly developed through the stages of masculinity or femininity as it applies to their design, mission, and assignment. And if they are broke, they're going to bring you up broke too. Do you understand? And I'm not saying broke, because it can be still learned. Because the thing about it is, when we're born like computers. We have hard drives, and the hard drive is our masculinity or our femininity. It's hardwired in us. Even if you think that you are going to go to the other side, you have issues with it, because in your hard drive, you know. Now, what happened is there's been difficulty or malfunctioning in uploading of the software. Who's responsible for the software? The software program developer, which is our parents. They did not implement the right software programming. So as a result of not receiving the right programming, some are given the choice to make their own choices relative to programming. So the parent will allow the child, instead of directing the child, because that's what parenting is. Parenting is directing a child in the way that they're supposed to go according to their design, mission, and assignment. You may not, as a parent, know the mission and assignment, but you definitely know the design. And it's our job to direct them in concert with that design. If we don't, we are responsible for that child malfunctioning. I know you don't like the word malfunctioning. I know it sounds rough, but that's how. Give me something else. Malfunction is the only thing that I can come up with at this moment, and I don't mean that in a belittling fashion. But I'm saying that it's the parents who have not brought up the child, or the parent who have not in themselves been brought up, and it goes on and on and on and on. And so that if malfunctioning has been generationally down, traced down through our lineage, then that's what's going to happen. But it can be arrested. It can be changed. The malfunction can be arrested. And how do we do that? That's one of the things that we do at Purpose Quest International. I'm not trying to say anything other than this. You have been designed by the Creator, not me. And all I'm saying is this: you have been designed by the Creator, and you have a responsibility to operate and to function in line with the design that you were given. And the design that you were given was either masculinity or femininity. And your design fits that masculinity or femininity design that you were given from the masculine and feminine energy that helped create you. Now, that's not coming from me. As far as I'm concerned, each and every one of you are going to do what you want to do, but you are responsible for the words that you're hearing now. You're responsible for that, for this. Now, let me ask you one more time, as a commercial, would you subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell so that you can hear more and go deeper down the rabbit hole than where I'm going tonight, because it goes deeper. But it doesn't go deeper in a negative way. It really doesn't. It goes deeper in a more profound, enlightening, and an awakening fashion. Yeah, it does. Okay, so let me look at here. I don't want to just, okay, here's where we have to go next. So when we talk about the whole idea, let me see, I might have to go back to this again in order to show you. Let's go back. Okay, yes, this one. So when we looking at this particular roadmap, we see spirit, we see masculine, feminine, we see birth, and then we see masculinity and femininity. Now here is where the creating part of all this is taking place. And this is the manifestation of it when we're born. And when we're born boy and girl, or girl, not boy and girl, boy or girl. Why is that important? It's critical because it goes to show that we are equal, but not the same. We're equal, but not the same. Some folks say we're not equal. Yes, we are. We are equal. Man and woman are equal, but not the same. We need one another, just like the key needs a lock, or the lock needs the key. Now, when we were born boy or girl, and that boy or girl designation is a reflection of the assignment of masculinity or femininity. So if you are a boy, then it's a type and shadow of masculinity. And if you are a girl, it's a type and shadow of femininity, right? So it's only two sexes. Sex. There's only two sex. Even those that are born that have more than one genitalia, there's still going to be a dominant gender or sex, always is. And never does both of those organs work. Never. Not ever. Not ever. So it's important to know that. Now, so we're talking about, first there is essence, then there is, or what we call spirit, then we can say spirit, then essence being masculine or feminine. Okay. Then after masculine or feminine and feminine, it comes to birth, like we see here. And then masculinity and femininity, which becomes boy and girl. Right? Now, I talked about gender a little bit, and I talked about it in the light of your gender is determined by your software. Your software. Who is the first learners, the first teachers, the first uploaders of each and every one of us? Our parents. They are the software developers responsible for the proper software uploadings. But they can only do that if they themselves have been properly uploaded. So there's going to be areas where you're going to need some recalibration, right? Now that recalibration comes through learning. Okay. Gender is where parents of the same gender teaches the children of the same sex how to function and how to operate and how to function within their sex. If you're a boy, your father is supposed to teach you. If you're a girl, your mother is supposed to teach you. At this juncture, the first juncture, boy and girl, is childhood. Childhood. Your parents are your most important, critical teachers. Not your schools, not social media, not your culture. No. Not your social economic background. No, your parents. Because they're the most intimate, should be, because you're most like them. And and they're most like you in that they have the same physical design. And that's important to a child. They gravitate toward the one that has the same type of equipment. Okay, so that becomes important in understanding gender, parenthood. And what we're hearing today is parents saying that our child decided when they were 2 or 3. A child has no ability to make those decisions at that age, excuse me. A child has not that ability to make those decisions. It's like a computer. A computer needs uploading software. It cannot make decisions. The decisions has to be made by the software developer as to what type of software that will be uploaded. And so it's the responsibility of the software developer to ensure the proper uploads. The child doesn't make those determination. They are ill-equipped to do that. Only the parent can do that. So if a parent has not done that, they have not fulfilled their responsibilities. And it may be because they were not properly taught themselves. So it can go back to their parents and so on and so forth as who is at fault. But even though it's someone's fault, we can catch it and we can fix it. Oh, so you're saying we need to be fixed? Everyone needs to be fixed. No one here is perfect. We are being fixed our whole lives. It's called learning, isn't it? That's being fixed. Learning. We used to believe that there was a Santa Claus until we learned that there wasn't one. We used to believe in the Easter Bunny until we learned that there wasn't one. We didn't know 1 plus 1 equal 2 until we were taught 1 plus 1 was equal 2. We weren't taught, we didn't know that boys do this and girls do that until we were taught boys do this and girls do that. Well, I'm going to go over one more thing and I'm going to call it a night. And that is the whole idea. If that's the case, and our children aren't being taught the way that they need to be, and why things are happening the way they are happening, here's why. There's what we call essence, first spirit, then it's essence, and essence again, masculine and feminine. And then once it comes down, it comes to masculine and feminine. To enter into this sphere, has to put on the ITY, right? The degree or the state, right? And it puts that on. And as a result, it's determined that we are either masculine or feminine, and we come out boys or girls, determining whether we're masculine or feminine. And our masculine and feminine, our design shows us and reflects to us. Our design that reflects the idea, the mentality, the mindedness that was given to us relative to who we are by the mindful creator. I want to talk about that one of these days. I want to talk about mindedness and mindfulness. They are not the same, and we've misconstrued them and have been misusing them. But here what I'm talking about. So when we start talking about the whole idea of masculinity and femininity puts on sex, we become boys and girls. Now, once we become boys and girls, the uploads determine our gender. Now, if we don't get the proper uploads, okay, cognitive dissonance is the result. Confusion. Gender identity crisis. And so what happens? What happens? Well, this is what happens. We all have traits. Traits, basically, traits are observational. They are things that we identify as being a part of us and make us who we are. We have traits. Let me see if I can make that a little bit better by definition. Traits is a distinguishing quality or characteristic, typically one belonging to a person. It's a characteristic, a feature, an attribute. Okay. So we have these attributes that help make us up what we are. There are masculine traits, there are feminine traits. Now, how do we gain traits? That is a great question. Traits are gained by what I call gender trait appropriation. We talk about cultural appropriation, right? How do they get our music? Because they appropriated our music. You can also appropriate traits. And it happens because we see traits that seem appealing to us. And so we adopt them. We observe them. Mentally, we make notes of them. We start rehearsing them. And as a result, they influence us. And as a result of that, we begin to operate and function by traits. Now, the thing about traits that there's some observational indicators to understand that a person is operating under traits and not by gender assignment. Observational indicators of gender trait appropriation: exaggerated behaviors, exaggerated mentality, aggressiveness, defiance, anger, hostility, and violence. We see those things, don't we? Now listen, I am not calling out anyone. He that has an ear, let him hear. I am not criticizing anyone. I'm here to be a voice of reason, of balance, of equilibrium, of equilibrium. Of spiritual balance. Now, I'm gonna stop there, but I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna talk about some how people specifically glean traits. And I'm going to talk about some of the major causes of gender confusion, gender role confusion. And then I'm going to talk about how males become masculine, how females become feminine, and for us to begin to operate and function in a way that will cause us to culturally, societally, and nationally and globally to do what was intended for us to have dominion. For us to have dominion. Wow, that's a lot. You need to come over to the other channel. You really do. You really need to come over to our station called Purpose Sphere. Go to our Facebook page, look up Purpose Sphere, and you'll see our logo, and come on over there and be a part of that, and where you can ask questions, we can entertain some things and discuss some things. Come to our Instagram page. We have an Instagram page, Purpose Sphere. We also have a Red Hot Mike, right? TRHMGAP, the Red Hot Mike, on Instagram. Twitter. We have Twitter. So there are so many ways that you can. We have a website, gapalmer.com, where you can go and you can hear more, of what we're talking about. I am not, and I repeat, am not trying to say anybody is wrong, messed up, but there's some things that we can do differently. We can. Well, that's it for tonight. That's it. Comments, if you have any, I love to hear them. Again, you see the information scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I need you to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell. I need you to do that to help us go viral. Would you do that for me? Would you do it right now? I'm going to wait for a few minutes, not even a few seconds. Thank you. I appreciate you. We're going to go through this more in depth. We're going to go further down the rabbit hole. And so I'm going to ask you to come back for another edition of the Red Hot Mic. And once again, I am so glad to be back. So until the next time we get together, this is G. Alfred Palmer, wanting you to do the best that you can. And we want you to do...
In our current global climate, we're facing challenges never before experienced by this generation. Oppositions where no one seems to have clear directions or answers to the risks facing us. Confrontations like racial and gender unrest, political gerrymandering, toxic leadership, economic crisis, global pandemic, health threats, pre-existing medical conditions, isolation, boredom, and loneliness are driving people to desperation. As a result, people are confused, afraid, anxious, and perplexed, and they need answers to some tough questions and even tougher situations. They are looking into different outlets for answers to gain assurance and consolation. Some have drawn closer to the embrace of family, while others look more towards their friendships, education, and even religion. What we need is a fresh voice of truth and clarity, and not a stale religious echo from the past. There's a re-emerging voice on the horizon that isn't afraid to stand alone and give spiritual and mentally sound direction to a world searching for answers. G. Alfred Palmer offers a voice of sound human development and empowerment to those willing to hear. There's a need for new ideas to old principles, a perspective from a timeless origin, but with current vision, a thought leader who understands what it means to stand alone and speak truth when some are hard of hearing. But if you've been waiting to hear a voice that opens the gates of freedom and breaks the shackles of confusion to allow you to step forward into the dawning of a new and exciting future, then it's time to bridge the gap with Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. He is a dynamic speaker, thought leader, and entrepreneur, equipped to elevate, expand, and extend the development, empowerment, and leadership of his audiences. He stands ready to speak at your next event. His delivery is guaranteed to refresh, entertain, and transform.